Hi. To begin, let's talk real estate. It's one of the things I never ever invest in for the following reasons. First, too much aggravation with lawyers and real estate brokers. Second, too much aggravation with tenants and government tribunals when tenants don't want to leave or cause damage. Third, illiquidity when you want to sell. Sure, if you buy real estate at the bottom of a cycle and sell at the top, you can make money, but so you can in any other business. Even though I keep away from it, though, I now keep away from real estate with a passion. Here is why. First, commercial real estate is way overbuilt, and people don't go to offices anymore. So there's a huge commercial real estate glut. What about converting office buildings to condos? Well, good luck. Mostly you can't. No one would live in a former commercial real estate building. You need more bathrooms, more sewage, more this and more that, and it costs too much to do. If you want to have a large condo building, better start from scratch. But not only commercial real estate is overbuilt, so are condos. Let me give you an example from Canada. In a small city called Barrie, 1 hour from Toronto, 1 out of every 2 condos is empty, half of them. Now, who own these empty condos? As the real estate agent delicately says, investors, that is speculators. They bought the condo 2, 3, 4 years ago to flip them. When they bought, mortgage rates were less than 2%. Now they are 5, 6, sometimes 7%. So floating payments tripled. What's worse, most speculators borrow to the hilt. So they have 70, 80, maybe even 90% of the value in a mortgage, first and second. And now with the condo glut, they can't sell above what they had bought it for. So they try to rent them out first. But there are few renters. Canada has a low birth rate, only 1.2 to 1.5 babies per woman, and immigrants are not yet rich enough to buy a condo, at least not many. Besides, even if the flipper speculator managed to rent a condo out, the rent usually doesn't cover the mortgage payment. So what do the flippers do? Well, that's not the question. The question is, what do the banks do? The bank that owns the mortgage that's not being paid. The bank will mostly repossess the condo. If they repossess too many, there will be a washout. Or is it happening already? I'm not sure, but I bet you it is. Why am I not sure? Because there is one piece of data I can't find. How many of the condos being now offered for sales are offered by banks and other mortgage lenders who took possession of them? Here is why I can't. The banker who took possession is not the same person who sold the mortgage to the flipper. The mortgage seller is long gone. So the banker who took possession is a different person. He or she just wants to sell the condo at any price so the bank could get his money out. But he will never tell anyone he's selling, because then the price will drop and all other condos he carries for the bank will have to be marked down, which his bosses wouldn't like. So bank employees who handle such repossessed condo sales for a bank must make sure that the real estate agent they employed will keep his or her mouth shut, which is why I can't learn how many of such repossessions there are. But you may ask, why do I speak of condos? What about standalone homes? These are still okay, sort of, because those who buy them are often high-earning yuppies with 2 salaries and 1.5 kids, and they can afford to keep up payments even when they double or triple. Okay, that's for small towns. What about big cities? In Toronto, for example, just across from my window view on the 21st floor, I can see dozens of rising condo towers, tens of thousands of new units being built. Who are they built by? Why? By more speculators, more flippers, only larger ones. Because surely you don't think that the builders put up their own equity money for building $500 million condo tower with 45 stories, dozens of tiny condos per floor? No. Just like an individual speculator, they put up at most 10% of the total value and borrow the rest from banks. With the higher interest rates, many of these builders are now in trouble too and need extra money. So, like good Canadians, they went crying to the government, which needs taxes on construction wages to pay city workers and mainly also police salaries and pensions, which are munificent. So, thus goes the rumor, pension funds in Canada were pressured by the federal and provincial governments to lend to builders. But now the builders need even more money. Why? First, because with condo prices soft, Some of the original buyers of the condo units who had put up the initial tiny deposit to speculate are showing signs of not going through with the purchase. That is, the speculative ardor has cooled. And in the final count, these small speculators and the flippers, like the stock market final bag holders, are those whose job is to rescue the big speculators. And will they? Not this time, I'm afraid. As Warren Buffett says, only when the tide is going out can you see who doesn't have his swim trunks on. And the tide is going out fast. Why? In 2 words, elections and riots. As I've been telling you over the last 6 months, get ready for the US pre-election riots. We've just had the first one, small ones, in universities, riots in favor of terrorism and terrorists in Gaza. Big money is financing them, and allegedly, so does the man. It's done so that, allegedly, come November, it will be dangerous to leave the house to vote for the Orange Man. So is that it? Have the riots come and gone? Not by a long shot. At present, the rioters are mostly young idiot students who got infected by anti-Semitism and professional agitators who get paid by Qatar as well as by the man. But in my opinion, this will soon grow to something worse, far worse, according to my informers, the same ones, by the way, who successfully forecasted the current riots. Who will be the new rioters? First, the more than 10 million young males who came through the US border, most with allegedly help of US institutions tied to the government. But then there may also be more organized Muslim riots, both in the US and yes, in Europe. Finally, there may be allegedly fake provocations like the one happened on January 6th in Congress. More riots are coming on a large scale, so say my informers. All right, you say, but how can I make money off it and preserve what I have? Again, as I said before, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is printing masses of T-bills and T-bonds to flood the market with money. And on top, institutional investors are pessimistic and have tons of cash. All this cash in institution pocket and newly cash created by Janet Yellen will cause the market to soar here into year end. This means, in my opinion, another 20 to 30% rise from here, probably already edged in. I'm saying probably. But then the big riots would start and the market will flatten and falter. And when I say big riots, I mean really big, with a capital R. Worse than Black Lives Matter riots and January 6th riots combined, 5 times worse. And through it all, Janet Yellen will probably print more and more in desperation, both to try to get Biden reelected and to ruin the US economy for the Orange Man in case he wins. Once the big riot starts and the market tops, the economy will tank, and many potential condo buyers and condo owners, yes, will be out of a job. And then they'll try to sell even more cheaply and desperately, but they'll also be competing then on even more bank repossessions. In other words, it will likely be ugly, like 1990, only much worse. How much worse? Awfully much worse, in my opinion. So, to sum up, I would stay away from real estate for now because it's illiquid. What about stocks? Because everyone is scared, there's a wall of worry for the bull market to climb, fed by Janet's cash. So for now, I'd stay in the market in liquid stocks until everyone is euphoric and is sure the risk is over. And as the euphoria hits, I'd go into cash, full 100% cash in US dollars, because it's going to be the strongest then, and also T-bonds. Probably at the S&P 500 level between 6.5 grand and 7 grand. Then I'll find me a good hobby, maybe write another book to last me a year until the crash ends and presents me with bargains. This would probably be at an S&P 500 level of maybe 1,500 or so. When, by the way, both you and I will be too scared to buy, because by then, after all the riots and the market crash, we'll be sure the world or whatever is left of it is ending. But it wouldn't end. It rarely does. Yes, it may come close to it, but only 5 years hence in a massive debt forgiveness by the end of the decade. But that's a long way off. That's all for now. Please let me know what you think of the above. Subscribe to the channel and retweet to all your friends and subscribers and followers so they subscribe too. Then buy my books, The Sleuth Investor and The Advanced Sleuth Investor, so you can see how to recruit formers that can tell you in advance what's coming, just as mine told me about the riots. I'll see you next time, and meantime, thank you very much for watching.